Hello, Business 1360 Software Apps for Business students in this hybrid and accelerated section. You know, we've just gotten started and you're just turning in your first in-class assignments, and I've posted grades. Almost everyone finished the assignment in class that night. I have not yet graded Project 2, but I want to go ahead and give you some early feedback on some things that I think with this very first grade might be helpful to you. And this is going to be really, really important, okay? So I hope you are watching these videos all the way through to the end. All right, so the first thing I want to talk to you about is how to review your grade. This is something that if you don't do it the way that I'm doing it, you're going to miss some really important information. Now, to demonstrate to you, I have logged in to PAWS using an account that is Z McGrory. Almost all of your faculty will have an account like this. Normally I'm J McGrory, but they just put a Z in front of it because it's a demonstration account. It lets me pretend to log in as a student so that everything that I show you looks exactly the same as if you were logging in. Otherwise, I would have to do a lot of translations trying to say this may look different on your screen. So this is not a real student, but this is something that will help you to see your courses. So it's a demonstration, all right? When you log in to our class in PAWS, you log into PAWS, you click the link for our class, what a lot of students do is they'll come up here to this notification, and it becomes a quick way to look at grades, right? But there's a problem with this. This is simply a number, and it does not give you the feedback that I have taken great pains, to give to you. So you're missing a lot of things that I'm going to assume that you have looked at. In fact, I'm going to hold you responsible for looking at the feedback that I've given you. So how do you do that? Well, go underneath assessments. There's a couple ways to do this, but go under assessments, and you can go back to the Dropbox where you turned it in, but I'm going to go to grades. What student doesn't like to monitor their grades? All right. Well, you have a portfolio that'll be due soon. It's not this one, though. It'll be this create, share, and cover, right? So hopefully you're working on that. Some of you have already completed that, which is fantastic. Then this was the feedback. Hopefully you've already looked at it for the simulators that you have finished. And I gave my student account a 100%, so I'm off to a really good start. But you'll notice this overall feedback. This is what the entire class sees. It's my message to the entire class. And when I have finished grading something, I always put up here grades posted so that you'll know. Notice that here I might be concerned that I got a 0, but that's not true because the grades have not been posted. I'm going to keep scrolling down all these assignments, and here is the feedback for my in-class projects, the very first one. Now, before we even get started, folks, let me tell you the most critical oversight that students make. They forget to scroll down. I am scrolling down. And now look at the feedback. So when I tell you to scroll down, you can see how important that's going to be throughout this entire flex term, right? In fact, if I hadn't scrolled down, I might be overlooking that grades were posted for my attendance. Sometimes students will say, what did we cover? And I'm always amazed because what that means is that you're not monitoring at all. And you need to do that. It's important, folks. It's important. All right, now remember I said scroll down, and remember I said I've only given you the feedback for Word 1, Workshop 1, in-class project at this time. Naturally, I'm going to continue grading. And this is the individual feedback, and this means only Z McGrory can see this. Now, if you are John Doe or Jane Doe, then this would be your individual feedback, and only you could see it. If I do scroll down, and like I said, this is a lot of scrolling down, then you'll see this overall feedback, and I want to point this out. Because remember, the due date has not yet passed for this assignment. The due date for bonus points has passed, but the due date for the assignment has not passed. So what do I say here? Well, it says to the entire class, as of 3/25/2017 at 3 p.m., For those students who completed the assignment in class on Wednesday, March 22nd, the assignments are graded and 2 bonus points were awarded as explained in the syllabus. For those students who have not yet completed the work and plan to submit it by the due date, which is Tuesday, March 28th at 11:55 p.m., your work has not yet been graded and will be graded after the due date. So in other words, I will make another pass through this assignment to look for any student who might have submitted the work afterwards. And you can still earn full points. You just don't earn the bonus points. Bonus points are earned when you actually submit it in the class session. All right? Now, what is this? This is a table, with columns and rows, and it explains how the assignment was graded. Now, at the top, I do try to talk to you a little bit to tell you what was the major problem. But down below, it's itemized. Now, here's what I'm trying to highlight for your attention, to get your attention here. It says you earned a score of 19.5 out of 20 on this assignment, but you submitted the assignment in class. And so you earned 2 bonus points, which makes your score a 21.5 out of 20. So 19.5 plus 1 is 20.5, plus 1 more is 20. So that's 2 bonus points, 21.5 out of 20. So indeed, I see that in my grade over here. But what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Okay, well, as I look through here, and I did do this a little bit rushed. This would say 0. I'm so sorry, this would say 0. Because it would say the file, if I did not name the file correctly, then I would have earned 0 points. I'm sorry, so I got a little error here. So my grade would actually be a little bit lower. As I go down through here, and I'm looking, oh, look, I see I made another mistake. Now, I could have earned, what is this column? Let me go back up here. This is the point value for this particular item, and the second column is the score that I actually received. So as I go down here, I see where I lost points. Was the salutation of the letter aligned left? Well, maybe I forgot to do that because, by default, in the startup document that you used, it was on the right-hand side. So as you go through doing all these different things, you can see. So nope, I lost some points on that. Okay, so hopefully, you're getting an idea, and you would say, oh goodness, next time I'm going to have to really be careful about that, and I'm going to have to really make sure that I've done everything correctly. So make sure, that you're reading that feedback, okay? And that's the most important part of this. Now, let's go a little further, because as you read the feedback, maybe there was something that you didn't fully understand. You thought as you were sitting in class, I didn't understand how to do this. So what you want to do is you want to go back and review your ebook, and you want to understand how to play the embedded videos, all right? Now, remember, we are just really getting started. This is early in the class, so this is obviously something that's going to be very important as we continue to get more in depth, as you start to understand the tools that you're working with and how the course is set up, okay? So this is critical, folks. It will keep you from getting frustrated, but if you don't do it, then you're going to get frustrated, because you're going to find out that I'm communicating with you, but you're not receiving the communication. In other words, with the grade, I'm telling you this is what's going on, but I can only tell you that if you're willing to receive it. What your book and your embedded videos does is it communicates to you how you can do better and not lose those points on future assignments. So really, really important, okay? So how do I look at that? Well, you log in, step number 1, to My IT Lab. And when you're in My IT Lab, everything is broken into categories for you. I'm under Course Materials. Everything is in categories for you. Now, you could go directly into one of the Word workshops if you wanted to, but perhaps the easiest thing to do is to click on this ebook link at the top of the course. In the ebook, you see that here's the e-text, and this is just makes life easy for you, so you might want to use that. If you wanted to do the print upgrade or to look at some of the data files to practice with your text, these are things that I showed you the first night of class that might be a little more important to you now, okay? So I'm going to click on the e-text, and I'm going to open it. And as you might remember from that first night of class, all it does is open this window, and so I've got to click again where it says click here. You might have to enable pop-ups. Remember, we talked about that as just something very important you're going to have to do on your browser. So it might take just a minute or two to load. Okay, and so here it is. Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit because this is kind of large. And over on the side, remember this from the first night of class, there's a triangle. You click, and you can start to drill down into your textbook. And, you know, turn pages is what I mean when I say drill down. So here's word 1. Right now maybe I'm a little too small. And I can start to flip through the pages. And again, this is all stuff that we did the first night of class, but again, perhaps more relevant to you tonight. The thing that I want to point out in particular is how to save a document, because we saved a document as a PDF. We're going to do that throughout the semester for a lot of different projects that we do, and so it's something that it's very important that you master. And here it is. It's actually covered in your book as one of the save features. And you might have noticed if you hover your mouse over some of these page numbers that they're clickable links. You can go directly to it. Now you can also just go through it page by page, or you can type a page number in. I'm going to start out, I'm going to go to page 159, and I want to find out, how do I save? Well, look at this. This actually explains, and remember I talked about this at the start of class. There's the cloud computing and OneDrive, and we talked about those things. And here's the PDF, and it starts to explain the PDF. And this is actually, you know, page 159 of your book. So you would read this, perhaps review it. Hopefully you've already read it, but you're reviewing it. And then you would go to page 2, and look, it says here's the step-by-step instructions. And so it's telling you here's exactly how you save. And you can say click the file and then export, and you can go through these step-by-step instructions. Now, maybe as you do this, and some students love just having a picture, it's quick, it's to the point, you like, and look at this, it even talks about how to edit the PDF. But maybe this picture is worth 1,000 words to you in terms of saving as a PDF. Remember we talked about this, save as type and how important it is, and I had you change this to minimum, and we talked about that. But anyway, so you have all that information. So now maybe that's all you needed and it's clarified for you. But what if it's not? I'm going to zoom back out, because all of us learn in slightly different ways, right? So if I go back, I'm going to go back one more page, because this is where it started to talk about it. And if you'll notice, let me make that big again so perhaps you can see it. As you'll notice, where it says W for Word 01, so this is Module 1, and this is the video number 12, so 1.12. This is a clickable link. Now, hopefully it's going to let me play this on my computer. This is a video, and you could play this. It's a short video, it's only 2 minutes, but you could play this. I have played it, and so I can tell you that if you get to, yeah, look at that.
There's a format that can be easily viewed on multiple platforms.
So this would start to explain this. So, you know, round about the 1 minute, you know, little 1 minute 15 seconds, just to make sure you're at the right spot, maybe 1 minute and 10 seconds. And it would demonstrate to you exactly how to save that file as a PDF. So perhaps when I looked at my grade in pause, perhaps my feedback said you didn't save the file as a PDF, okay, something like that. Trying to find that quickly in the, yeah, here. So here's where you would have lost points on that, right, under Part C. So if you lost points on this, this is, I promise you, something that's going to come up later. So you would find it very beneficial to watch the video or review the steps in your textbook, or review your notes from the first part of our class where I demonstrated and discussed saving as a PDF. This is just one example. There may have been other things that you lost points on, and you should be able to go through your ebook in Pearson, go through this ebook to find what you need. And again, how did I do that? I logged into my IT lab and I simply clicked on course materials. I chose to go under the folder I have set up for you, this ebook folder, but you might recall, like if you're working on workshop 3 right now, then here's a link. I did that in every single folder so that you can very quickly get into that ebook. All right, so that was topic number 2, how to review in your ebook and how to find embedded videos so that after you've reviewed your grade, you can learn about any skills or brush up on any skills that you may have forgotten. And now the question becomes, what if you want to redo your work? When you submit your work into PAWS, it is time and date stamped. And so this is how I know that you turned it in, for example, during class period and you earned 2 bonus points. If you lost a significant number of points in this assignment, the 2 bonus points may not have been enough to help your grade. And so what that means is that you may consider going back to the assignment and resubmitting it. If you do that, you cannot also have the 2 bonus points, okay? So those would come off the table, even if you are only submitting a portion of the assignment to be regraded. So for example, in this assignment, you submitted 4 files. Let's say only one of those files contained errors, perhaps significant errors, and so you decide to redo it. Well, I would regrade your work, really all parts of it, okay? So, you know, all 4 files, and then it would just simply be a grade out of your 20 points. You would not be entitled to earn the bonus points, okay? But that's an option for you that's available to you, and it's your choice on whether or not that's beneficial. Now, you can't flip-flop back and forth between the 2 strategies. You either submitted it in class or you chose to redo it and submit a part or all of the assignment again, okay? But again, you know, it just depends on what you want and what your target is for the points, and I'm leaving that in your hands so that you have control over that. If you feel, look, with the 2 bonus points, that's probably the best score that I would get and I'm comfortable with that, then you're good. I still would encourage you to make sure you know the skills that we've covered, because again, they're going to keep coming up. But whether or not you want to resubmit your work is up to you, but those are the guidelines. Now, remember that the due date for this is the night before our next class, so it would be Tuesday at 11:55. After that time, you are not allowed to resubmit at all, as discussed in the syllabus, okay? You know, folks, so far for the very first assignment, you all did very good. Of course, it is just the first assignment. We're getting started. I'll be grading your second assignment soon, and I always email you to let you know that grades are posted and to encourage you to look at the detailed feedback that I give you. Thank you so much.